Hi there everyone, how are we all doing? Hopefully a little better after seeing Celtic actually perform to a pretty decent level on Tuesday night. We scored 4 goals, we got 3 points against Kilmarnock at Rugby Park. Certainly were some more positive signs there. Yes, this season is so far over that it's not even funny, but we can already look ahead to next season, and that's what a lot of Celtic fans have been doing since the victory at Rugby Park, and it may come as no surprise to you that that's what we're going to be doing on today's video. Okay, there's going to be a massive turnaround at Celtic this summer. We're going to have probably a dozen, maybe more players leaving the club, probably about the same number coming in. We're going to just take a look at the players that are likely to be leaving the club and what it leaves us with going into next season before any new recruits are even pondered. Don't worry, we will be touching on what kind of players we could be signing in other videos coming up, but for now we're just going to take a look at rough idea of what we will be likely to be needing in the summer when numerous players leave the club. First off, loan players currently at the club. I'm talking Diego Laxalt, I'm talking Shane Duffy, Mohamed Elyounoussi, and of course the new Celtic hero, our greatest right back ever, John Joe Kenny. I would expect probably all 4 of those not to be at the club next season. Certainly Shane Duffy, God, I hope he's not at the club. Mohamed Elyounoussi and Diego Laxalt, I don't get the impression they're going to be coming back. John Joe Kenny, we'll wait and see. If he performs well, we'll obviously hope that he can be at the club next season. But judging from Carlo Ancelotti's comments, it seems like his long-term future is at Everton. The 4 important players from recent years that I would expect to leave the club in the summer are Odsonne Edouard, Olivier Ntcham, obviously, Christopher Ajer, and Ryan Christie. I don't think we'll have any problem finding suitors for Ajer and Edouard. Obviously, Ntcham looks like he's going to be going to Marseille. But even if it didn't work out for him at Marseille, I think we'd be able to find another team to take him. Ryan Christie, I'm not quite as sure about. Although if he has a good Euros for Scotland, or even a decent enough Euros for Scotland, he'll probably get a lower half English Premier League club. Someone like that. But I would expect those 4 to leave the club. All of their contracts are up in 2022, so it would make sense for us to take some sort of money for them this summer. Also out of contract at that stage will be Leigh Griffiths. I think he's 30 at the moment, 31 in the summer. So is he going to be offered a new deal at the club under a new manager? And yes, it will be a new manager. It won't be Neil Lennon leading us next season. You have my word on that. Would you give Leigh Griffiths a new contract knowing that he does have the ability to change matches and to score big goals, but that in general his demeanour and his work ethic this season has left a lot to be desired, and he is now in his 30s? It's a tough one to weigh up. I would probably keep him around, but he can't be a starter, an automatic starter for us next season. I'd have him around as a backup and an impact player off the bench and maybe starting the odd game, but he can't be a first team starter for Celtic. 3 more names that will probably leave the club in the summer, I would say, or certainly in the next couple of years, and will not have any sort of impact next season. Manny Perez, yeah, who exactly? Andrew Gutman, yeah, who exactly? And Anthony Ralston as well, who has somehow managed to get some game time in recent weeks after all the various things that have gone on at the club. I would expect those 3 certainly not to be a part of the new manager's plans next season, but you never know. Right, we're really getting there. Only a few more players to mention, I promise. Scott Brown, a pretty big one, although maybe not as big as it would have been a year or so ago, given that we now seem to have Ismaila Soro, who is a more athletic, younger version of Scott Brown, basically. So Scott Brown at 36, I think he is in June or July. I don't know if I'd be rushing to sign a new contract if I was him, or renewing his contract if I was a new Celtic manager, as a player anyway, although he might stick around the club in some sort of coaching capacity. Karamoko Dembele, Armstrong Okoflex, Cameron Harper, probably see those players leaving the club. 3 more talented youth players leaving the club. Not a great look, but we've touched on that in other videos. And finally, players who are out of contract in 2023, so not next summer, not even the one after that, but the one after that, the kind of players that we may have to move on if we want to make mega money or decent money on them this summer. I'm talking Hatem Abd El Hamed, who I think will move on. Tom Rogic as well, I think will move on. It makes sense for both of those two to go. Also, Christopher Julian and Nir Bitton fall into that 2023 category, although I would hope, certainly in Julian's case, that he's the kind of player we could, build a team, not around, but we could build a team with going forward next season. I think he's a pretty good player, Julian, and I certainly hope that he has a bright future at Celtic if he can get over his injury troubles. So what does that leave us with? Well, I've designed a nice wee graphic to show you that if all those players I've mentioned, with the exception of Lee Griffiths, leave the club, this is effectively what we will be left with. And note, there are a few interesting additions, players you may well have forgotten about. Players like Jack Hendry and Leo Connor. Leo Connor, by the way, hasn't done too well in his loan spell in Tranmere, isn't a regular for them, but I've got him there as one of our options at right back. Players like Bolly and goalie. Now, could Jack Hendry and Bolly and goalie and even Marian Shved have any sort of future at Celtic under new management? Stranger things have certainly happened. I remember a fair few players making an impression under Brendan Rodgers that we wouldn't have expected to have any sort of future at Celtic. So I wouldn't write that off completely. Jack Hendry has had a really good loan spell with Oostende in Belgium, although I believe they're quite positive about the thought of them keeping him beyond this season. So maybe there's been an agreement already reached there. Maybe we've just written off Jack Hendry. But if he's playing like that in Belgium, maybe it's worth giving him a pre-season to see what he can do at Celtic. As I say, stranger things have happened. Charlie Mulgrew had to leave the club, albeit permanently, before he came back to Celtic and was a success. You've also got players there like Stephen Welsh and Scott Robertson and even Mikey Johnson, who's a couple of years older, who I think can really make an impact in the team next season. There's also the likes of Luca Connell and Jonathan Afolabi. Time will tell whether those players have got an opportunity to impress under a new manager. So there's a lot of work needs done. I'm not going to shy away from that. There is a lot of positions there, or there are a lot of positions there that need reinforcements. There's not a lot of backup there, but when you consider we're going to lose probably about a dozen players there, I think we'll bring in certainly into double figures. I think a lot of players will come into Celtic, and while that may be scary to a lot of people watching this, and we may be fearful about how next season's going to go, I think we should also be excited about the prospect of having new players to sing and shout about. We're going to have a new chief executive in at the club. We are going to have a new manager for next season, no matter how the end of this season plays out. I'm certain of that. And hopefully we're going to have some new players to get excited about, because the fans have grown so tired of this team this season. So surely that is something to be enthused about. We've found ourselves at a similar juncture on a couple of occasions in the last decade or so. When Neil Lennon first came into the job after the failure of the Tony Mowbray season, he changed so much of the team. You think of all the new players that came in that season, the likes of Joe Ledley, Gary Hooper, Beram Kayal, players like that, and we came very, very close to winning the league. And then when you look at when Brendan Rodgers came in, and fair enough, Brendan Rodgers probably only signed, I think, 4 or 5 players in that first window, but they were key players. I'm talking Dembele, I'm talking Sinclair and Kolo Toure when they first came in, but he lost a hell of a lot of players that summer. The likes of Charlie Mulgrew left the club, Stefan Johansson. So turnaround has happened at Celtic in the past, and generally the team hasn't really struggled too much as a result. If anything, it's given us a shot of adrenaline and a chance to go again, a bit of freshness. And I see the same happening next summer. For all that we're losing, the likes of Edward and Ayer, likely, who are important players, we're still got, for me, the nucleus of a good team there. I think the midfield three of Sorrell, Turnbull and McGregor, who I nearly forgot there somehow, are 3 players who can be that midfield trio next season and the season after. I think there's something to be excited about there. I still think that Albion Ajeti can be a success at Celtic. I actually still believe that Vasilis Barkas can be a success at Celtic when all of the stuff over Neil Lennon hanging over him and the club is taken away. I think there's players who will benefit from a fresh start there. I think Scott Robertson's a massive talent. I think Stephen Welsh is a big talent. I think Mikey Johnson can come onto a game. James Forrest is to come back from injury Christopher Julian's to come back from injury. If we can find another centre-back to go with Julian, I think there's lots to be positive about there. So that is the main message I'm giving you today. Yes, it may be concerning looking at the summer and what players we're going to lose and how the team's going to benefit or how it's going to hinder the team moving forward. But I think in general we should be really positive about a chance to rebrand ourselves almost. We're going to have a new chief executive coming in who's going to have new ideas. They're hopefully going to be innovative ideas. We're hopefully going to have a better relationship with him than we do the current Celtic chief executive and the board in general. We're going to hopefully have a new manager who's better than Neil Lennon, quite simply, who doesn't make you tear your hair out every press conference. And as I say, we're going to have a wealth of new players, a wealth of new talent at the club to get excited about. So there we go. There's a positive spin in things. As I say, we're going to have far more chat about incomings between now and the end of the season. We've got a lot of time to fill, let's be honest. We're going to have various scout pieces on the kind of players we could bring in each position. But from me, for now, I'm going to say goodbye. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you've not done it yet, and we'll speak to you soon.